Maxie Jones in deadly danger. Sidwell's sinister plan to silence her forever. The walls are closing in on Maxie Jones as villain Jens Sidwell prepares his most ruthless move yet. And it could cost her everything, including her life. Port Charles is about to witness one of its most shocking storylines, as the dangerous international criminal Jens Sidwell sets his sights on eliminating Maxie Jones. Once and for all, the beloved fashion executive has unknowingly become Sidwell's biggest threat, and the cold-hearted villain is ready to take drastic action to protect his criminal empire. The deadly secret that started it all. The trouble began when Maxie discovered that Sonny Corinthos had invested dirty money into Deception Cosmetics, the company she co-founded with Lucy Brooklyn Quartermain, and Tracy Quartermain. While her business partners voted to keep quiet about the illegal funds, Maxie's moral compass wouldn't let her stay silent. She became the lone voice demanding they go to the authorities, a decision that has now painted a massive target on her back. Sidwell, who orchestrated the money laundering scheme through his connections to Sonny's organization, learned about Maxie's stance from Lucy The villain now knows that Maxie is the only person standing between him and his master plan to take down Sonny while expanding his own criminal operations in Port Charles. James West becomes an unwitting pawn. The danger escalated dramatically when Maxie's young son James West innocently revealed crucial information to Sidwell. During a chance encounter at the Metro Court pool, the boy mentioned that his mother wanted to discuss something important with Max Scorpio, Port Charles chief of police detectives, and Maxie's adoptive father. This revelation sent chills down Sidwell's spine. He realized that Maxie wasn't just considering going to the police. She was planning to tell her own father, one of the most trusted law enforcement officials in the city. For Sidwell, this meant his entire operation could crumble within days. The kidnapping that changes everything. Unable to risk exposure, Sidwell will make his boldest and most dangerous move yet. The ruthless criminal will orchestrate the kidnapping of young James, using the boy as leverage to control Maxie. However, this won't be a simple ransom situation. Sidwell has much more sinister plans in mind. Sources close to the production reveal that James will be taken while Maxie is distracted, sending her into a panic. The kidnappers will contact her with specific instructions. Follow their demands exactly, or never see her son again. Most importantly, she must not contact Mac, the PCPD, or anyone else who might interfere with Sidwell's plans. Desperate to save her child, Maxie will have no choice but to comply. She'll be directed to a remote location where Sidwell's men are waiting, believing she's going to a simple exchange James for her silence. But the international criminal has no intention of letting her walk away. The trap is set. When Maxie arrives at the designated meeting spot, she'll call out frantically for James, her maternal instincts overriding any concern for her own safety. That's when Sidwell will make his dramatic appearance, revealing the true scope of his plan. No one has any intention of harming your son, Sidwell will coldly inform the terrified mother. My associates just want reassurance that you won't be going to the authorities about certain financial irregularities. But when Maxie desperately promises to stay quiet, anything to get James back safely, Sidwell will deliver the crushing blow. I'm afraid I can't count on that, he'll say with chilling calm, giving the order that will change everything. Take her, a mother's worst nightmare. In a twisted display of his manipulative nature, Sidwell will ensure that James is returned home safely to Damien Spinelli, but Maxie will simply vanish without a trace. The boy will tell his father that everyone was really nice to him, having no idea that his mother has been kidnapped. This will send shockwaves through Port Charles as Maxie's family and friends realize she's missing. Mac and Felicia Scorpio will be devastated, launching a desperate search for their daughter. Spinelli will be torn between relief that James is safe and terror over what's happened to the mother of his child. The poisoned beauty products twist. But Sidwell's plan doesn't end with a simple kidnapping. Spoilers suggest that the villain has been planning Maxie's downfall for weeks, potentially through a much more insidious method. The cosmetics executive may have already been exposed to a deadly toxin through Deception's own products. In a cruel irony, the very beauty cream that Maxie helped create could become the weapon used against her. Sidwell's associates may have tampered with Deception's inventory, ensuring that when Maxie uses the products she's so passionate about, she's actually poisoning herself. This diabolical plan would allow Sidwell to eliminate his threat while making it appear that Maxie simply fell ill or had an accident. The beauty mogul could collapse from the toxin just as she's being held captive. creating a medical emergency that serves Sidwell's purposes perfectly, hidden until the storm passes, rather than killing Maxie outright. Sources suggest that Sidwell plans to keep her imprisoned until his Measure C business dealings are complete. The international criminal needs time to solidify his control over Port Charles' criminal underworld and finalize his schemes against Sonny Corinthos. Maxie will be held in a secure location, possibly one of Sidwell's many properties around the globe, where she can't interfere with his operations. But this imprisonment won't be comfortable. The fashion executive will face psychological torture, as Sidwell reminds her daily that her silence could have prevented all of this suffering. The Casadini connection deepens. Adding another layer to this complex storyline is Sidwell's mysterious obsession with the Casadini family. The villain has already taken over Windermere Castle and acquired Helena Casadini's ancient dagger, which he's used in previous schemes. Rumors suggest that Sidwell may be holding other prisoners from the Casadini family, possibly including Spencer Casadini, who was presumed dead after falling into the Seine. If true, Maxie could find herself trapped alongside other victims of Sidwell's twisted games. The race against time. As Maxie remains missing, the pressure will mount on Mac and the PCPD to find her before it's too late. But Sidwell has covered his tracks well, using his international connections and vast resources to stay several steps ahead of law enforcement. Sonny Corinthos, realizing that his business dealings have inadvertently put Maxie in danger, may be forced to work with his enemies to save her. The mob boss has a complicated relationship with the Scorpio family, but he won't be able to live with himself if Maxie dies because of his dirty money. Meanwhile, Jason Morgan and other Port Charles residents will join the search, turning the entire town upside down looking for clues to Maxie's whereabouts. But Sidwell's plan is sophisticated, and every lead seems to result in another dead end. The ultimate price. As this storyline unfolds, viewers will witness Maxie fighting for survival while her loved ones desperately search for her. The fashion executive's determination to do the right thing, to expose the corruption and deception, has put her directly in the crosshairs of one of Port Charles' most dangerous villains. Sidwell's willingness to kidnap and potentially murder an innocent mother shows just how far he'll go to protect his criminal empire. This international criminal doesn't just want money or power. He wants complete control over Port Charles, and he'll eliminate anyone who stands in his way. The question remains, will Maxie's family and friends find her before Sidwell decides she's too dangerous to keep alive? Or will the villain's sinister plan succeed, silencing one of Port Charles' most beloved residents forever? This explosive storyline promises to deliver the kind of edge-of-your-seat drama that ABC General Hospital fans crave, with twists and turns that will keep viewers guessing until the very end. As Sidwell's web of deception tightens around Maxie, every episode will bring new dangers and shocking revelations that could change Port Charles forever. Next, we will learn about the issue of how Drew Kane's mounting enemies in Port Charles could lead to a deadly showdown and a mind-blowing identity twist. In the shadowy underbelly of Port Charles, where alliances shift like quicksand and betrayals lurk around every corner, Drew Kane has transformed himself into the ultimate pariah through a string of despicable actions that have alienated nearly everyone in town, from manipulating business deals to exploit vulnerable residents, like undercutting local entrepreneurs with shady Quartermain Enterprises tactics, to meddling in personal lives with ruthless ambition. Drew's behavior has escalated to new lows, making his next scheme perhaps a covert plot to seize control of Aurora Media through forged documents even more unforgivable than his previous transgressions. Envision the tension building as whispers spread through the Metro Court Hotel, where Drew's smug confidence clashes with the growing resentment of those he's wronged, setting the stage for someone to finally snap and wield a fatal blow. Invented elements could include anonymous threats scrawled on his office door, hinting at impending doom, or cryptic voicemails from unknown callers warning him that his time is running out. With enemies multiplying in every social circle from the Corinthos crime family to the upstanding medical community, it's inevitable that one vengeful soul will take justice into their own hands, leaving Drew at the mercy of a weapon aimed straight for his heart. This brewing storm underscores how Drew's relentless pursuit of power has painted a target on his back, turning the once respected figure into a walking liability that Port Charles might soon eliminate for good. The climax of this vendetta could unfold in a gruesome scene at Drew's lavish home, where he's discovered lifeless amid a crimson pool of his own blood, a stark testament to the hatred he's inspired. Picture the eerie silence broken by a knock at the door, only for Martin Gray perhaps arriving for a late-night legal consultation. On one of Drew's dubious Venturesto stumble upon a horrifying tableau, his face draining of color as he dials emergency services in a panic. The body, sprawled in the opulent living room with signs of a brutal struggle over furniture, shattered vases, and defensive wounds suggesting a desperate fight points to an assailant, who struck with unyielding fury, fueled by years of pent-up rage. New details might weave in atmospheric touches, like flickering lights from a storm outside mirroring the chaos within, or a half-finished glass of scotch on the table, implying Drew was caught off guard during a moment of supposed relaxation. This discovery would send shockwaves through the community, as word spreads via frantic texts and hushed conversations at Kelly's diner, confirming that someone finally grew weary of Drew's endless manipulations and decided to end his reign of terror permanently. The motive, it could stem from any number of his sins, such as blackmailing rivals or sabotaging relationships, making the act feel like poetic justice in the eyes of many, as the Port Charles Police Department springs into action, led by the sharp-eyed trio of Anna Devane, Dante Falconeri, and Harrison Chase. The investigation quickly balloons into a massive undertaking. Given that virtually every local has a grudge against the victim, the crime scene yields clues of a home invasion turned lethal, with the murder weapon conspicuously absent, but evidence of a savage attack, deep gashes and blood spatter patterns, indicating a close-range assault paints a picture of premeditated vengeance. Officers would comb through Drew's sprawling estate, uncovering hidden safes filled with incriminating files that only broaden the suspect pool, while forensic teams dust for prints amid the disarray. Inventive additions could include surveillance footage from a neighbor's camera, capturing a shadowy figure fleeing the scene, or a mysterious note left behind reading justice served, tantalizingly vague yet pointing to personal motives, with the PCPD rounding up anyone remotely connected to Drew. For intense interrogations at the station, the town buzzes with paranoia, as alibis are scrutinized and secrets unearthed. This widespread net casts suspicion on a who's who of Port Charles, turning routine coffee runs into opportunities for sideways glances and whispered accusations, as the detectives piece together a timeline riddled with opportunities for foul play. Among the throng of potential culprits, Willow Tate and Michael Corinthos emerge as the most glaring prime suspects, hauled in for grueling questionings that expose cracks in their stories and heighten the drama. Willow, still reeling from Drew's invasive interference in her family life perhaps, including attempts to sway her medical decisions or exploit her vulnerabilities during health scares, lacks a verifiable alibi for the time of the murder, her whereabouts clouded by a solo evening walk that no one can confirm. Michael, driven by deep-seated animosity over Drew's betrayals within the Corinthos Quartermain web, like undermining his business ventures or stirring up custody battles, also falters under scrutiny, claiming a late-night meeting that witnesses can't fully corroborate. Fresh elements might introduce tense interrogation room scenes, where Willow breaks down recalling Drew's manipulative charm, or Michael clenching his fists as detectives probe his history of confrontations, including an invented public altercation at a charity gala weeks prior. Their detentions fuel tabloid frenzy, with headlines screaming about family feuds turned fatal, and the pressure mounts as lie detector tests loom, threatening to unravel their defenses in this high-stakes whodunit. The suspect list expands dramatically to encompass a roster of Port Charles heavyweights, each with their own axe to grind against Drew's machinations, leading to a parade of interviews that keep the PCPD buzzing around the clock. Carly Spencer, seething from Drew's repeated attempts to sabotage her hotel empire and personal relationships, gets pulled in alongside Sonny Corinthos, whose mobster instincts might have finally boiled over after Drew's encroachments on his territory. Like meddling in arms deals or family loyalties, Alexis Davis faces tough questions about her legal entanglements with Drew, perhaps involving disputed wills or courtroom clashes, while Nina Reeves simmers with resentment over his role in derailing her media ambitions and romantic pursuits. Curtis Ashford and Dr. Portia Robinson aren't spared, grilled on motives tied to Drew's interference in hospital politics or personal vendettas, such as blackmailing Curtis over past investigations. Invented twists could add alibis that crumble under pressure, like Carly's claim of a spa night disproven by security cams, or Sonny's enforcer slipping up during questioning, heightening the suspense as alliances fracture and fingers point in every direction. This exhaustive probe turns the town into a pressure cooker, with residents eyeing each other warily at social gatherings, wondering who among them harbors the deadliest secret. The investigation takes a pivotal turn when forensics reveal Drew was fatally stabbed with an antique dagger, thrusting Alexis Davis into the spotlight as the top suspect. After Anna uncovers that the weapon had recently returned to her possession, perhaps from a family heirloom auction or a mysterious delivery, mounting evidence, including fingerprints on the hilt and a timeline placing Alexis near Drew's home bay, tied to a heated argument over legal documents, builds a compelling case, culminating in her dramatic arrest that leaves Port Charles reeling in disbelief. Visualize the handcuffs clicking into place outside her office, cameras flashing as she's escorted away, her poised demeanor cracking just enough to hint at hidden turmoil. New details could include a subplot where Alexis receives an anonymous tip about the dagger's significance, or flashbacks to her acquiring it amid emotional family revelations, adding layers to her potential guilt. The town erupts in shock, with friends like Christina Corinthos Davis rallying in support while others whisper about motive, such as Drew's threats to expose her past scandals. This charge sends ripples through the legal community, forcing Alexis to mount a defense from behind bars, all while protesting her innocence in a storyline that promises courtroom fireworks. But in a jaw-dropping reversal that flips the entire narrative, it emerges that the slain man isn't Drew at all, but an imposter who's been masquerading as him for years, while the genuine Drew Kane languishes in captivity in a remote, undisclosed location, enduring isolation that tests his resilience. Envision the real Drew, battered but unbroken, plotting his escape from a dimly lit bunker, perhaps guarded by shadowy operatives, tied to international intrigue, having been swapped out long ago in a scheme involving memory wipes or plastic surgery to maintain the deception. This revelation shatters assumptions, as clues like mismatched DNA from the autopsy or a hidden tattoo on the body confirm the fraud, leading to questions about when the switch occurred, maybe during one of Drew's overseas missions. Invented elements might include Drew's secret journal entries smuggled out, detailing his ordeal and clues to his location, or visions of him forging alliances with fellow captives to orchestrate a breakout. As the imposter's corpse lies in the morgue, the real Drew inches closer to freedom, his impending return poised to stun Port Charles and upend lives, revealing that the man they've despised was a counterfeit all along. The enigma of the imposter's true identity fuels endless speculation, with theories pointing to notorious figures like Shiloh, the cult leader thought long gone, or perhaps a new villain like a rogue agent from Drew's Navy SEAL past, driven by motives of revenge or greed. Why the elaborate ruse? It could involve siphoning off Drew's fortune through impersonation, infiltrating powerful circles to manipulate events like elections or corporate takeovers, or even a personal vendetta to destroy the Kane legacy from within. Meanwhile, the question of who orchestrated the imposter's murder hangs heavy. Did a suspect uncover the deception and strike in confusion? Or was it an inside job by accomplices tying up loose ends? As the real Drew fights his way back, fans ponder if his resurrection will expose a web of conspiracies, perhaps linking to organizations like the WSB or hidden Port Charles cabals. What do you think? Could the fake Drew meet a bloody end at the hands of an unsuspecting foe? Who might be behind his killing? And will the authentic Drew's triumphant return rewrite everything we know about Port Charles? Share your wildest theories below, and keep tuning in for the explosive revelations ahead.